If it's Thursday night, it's time for Mystic Racing League action. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. And tonight, we're bringing you race number 17 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, coming to you live from the concrete monstrosity of speed here at Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee, just outside the heart of Music City. Nestled in Lebanon, Tennessee, just east of the bright lights of Nashville, this 1.33-mile oval is the largest concrete oval in NASCAR, and it was built to make a statement. Constructed back in 2000 at a cost of nearly $100 million, the track was envisioned as a modern superspeedway alternative for Middle Tennessee, offering fans a cleaner, more expansive layout than the old Nashville Fairgrounds short track just down the road. With wide sweeping turns and generous banking, it was tailor-made for high-speed racing, long green flag runs, and strategic pit strategy. In its early years, Nashville Superspeedway hosted the Xfinity and the Truck Series, and even a stretch of IndyCar races, adding a diverse motorsports resume. But despite its promise, the track never secured a coveted Cup Series date, and after the 2011 season, with NASCAR sanctioning not renewed, the gate shut. But even in dormancy, it never fell silent. It became a private proving ground for NASCAR Cup teams, a hidden gem where cars were fine-tuned and tested. The concrete, meanwhile, aged like a fine Tennessee whiskey, and in 2021, after nearly a decade in the dark, NASCAR brought it back to life, awarding it a full National Series weekend, included the long-awaited Cup Series debut. And make no mistake, this place is different. Unlike the smoother, more predictable asphalt ovals, concrete doesn't give up grip easily. It changes lap after lap, rubber building, temperature shifting, keeping drivers on the edge and scrambling to adapt. Chris, here's a fun fact. Concrete dates all the way back to the Roman Empire, while asphalt roads didn't appear until 1848. That makes tonight's battleground one of the true gladiators. Between the ever-changing grip levels and the wide-open racing lines, Nashville is a modern-day coliseum of speed. So the question is, who's going to master the concrete, play the long game, and raise that gladiator sword in victory lane tonight? Or, as Nashville would have it, a guitar. What are we going to expect to see out of these drivers in this race tonight, Chris?
Well, this is a track that has a little bit of an identity crisis. It doesn't know if it wants to be an intermediate track. It doesn't know if it wants to be a short track. It's somewhere between both of them. And add the concrete surface to it, it just adds another obstacle that these drivers are going to have to overcome tonight. 120 laps around this concrete monstrosity, 63% fuel tank. So we're going to be seeing a little bit more frequent pit stop than what you would see in your typical race here at Nashville Superspeedway. About 40 laps on a tank of fuel, and with the stage breaks being at lap 30 and at lap 70, that makes things very interesting towards the end of stage 2 and guarantees a pit stop in that final stage. Should be a very interesting night of strategy and racing here at Nashville Superspeedway.
Chris, that strategy is going to be one of the many stories that we follow tonight, along with the point standings. But to get there, we've got to get everyone's favorite pre-race tradition out of the way. Please rise and remove your caps if able for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be back right on the other end. All right, back live here in Nashville, looking live at Nashville Superspeedway to get things underway for the Fall Creek Plumbing Series in the Mystic Racing League tonight. We've got some big stories to cover, but one of the biggest stories, Chris, is the point standings from last week. A little bit of a shakeup. We know we have a playoff system in play for this series, but something big happened last week. One of the guys who's been lurking back in second, third position of points for the past 8-9 weeks pulled off the first victory of the season. Christian Barnes won last week. That shakes things up a little bit, which leads us to one of the main stories, but you can see things back behind those top three are getting tighter, and you can see the cutoff line, the drivers who are in and the drivers who are out. Now, we've got a couple drivers who might not finish the season, so it complicates points a little bit, but you can see those drivers highlighted in red who are maybe in the danger zone just a little bit as the season rolls forward. Christian Barnes, one of the big stories of last week, Chris, pulled off a thrilling victory in Charlotte last week, making a pass in the final 10 laps. Does this establish Christian Barnes as a championship favorite now and kind of solidify his claim on that title?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a contender as we look and see his progress throughout the season. He's always been very fast and he's always been very consistent. And we were wondering, hey, is he going to be one to possibly be able to punch his ticket and, get that victory before the playoffs start? Not as flashy as maybe some of the other drivers have been this season with, the amount of wins, but he's definitely been a contender all season. So I'm going to keep my eyes on him tonight, along with maybe some others that might possibly punch their ticket. Maybe somebody like Alex Pollock tonight picking up his first win.
He's come on hot lately. We'll be following that 92 as well. Some of the other stories to follow, setting up the fans watching at home for the race tonight. We talked about it in the cold open. This is a concrete track, which means a whole new ball game. It just reacts differently than most other tracks these drivers are going to encounter over the season. Chris, what are you as a driver focusing on being the main thing you have to lock in tonight with a different track surface?
Well, with a concrete surface, there's a bunch of joints in the track, so the track is a little bit rougher than possibly an asphalt track, especially in real life. Don't know how much that compares here to on the sim, but there are some slight differences. I think that tire wear will definitely be an important story tonight and something that you will see. It seems like a lot of the concrete tracks on iRacing, the tires give out a little bit quicker than maybe some of the asphalt tracks do. So that's something I'm going to keep my eyes on tonight here on this concrete surface.
I think you're absolutely right with that being something to follow, which leads us to that third point. No grip, no mercy. Drivers are going to be struggling all night long to get those tires connected to the track. It just, without that abrasive asphalt surface, it really struggles. These cars struggle to get as much grip. So drivers are going to be a little tedious and will certainly need to be at the top of their game, at least in the beginning parts of these runs. And lastly, Chris, if we see trouble, it's likely. We saw it in practice, all practice long. Drivers off turn 3 and 4. It's a particular tricky section of the track with the egress out of turn 4 on the front straightaway being an area where drivers can snap loose in a heartbeat and not even know what happened to them. So drivers, crew chiefs are going to have to remind their drivers to be on top of that throttle management. What does that mean when we talk about throttle management here at a concrete track like Nashville?
Well, throttle management comes down to tire wear, and it also comes down to, not washing up into those drivers that are really, really close to you, possibly on your outside. Throttle management is also how you make passes here at Nashville Superspeedway. And what I was talking to with some of the drivers and what I, historically know here at this track, it is very, very difficult to complete passes. It's one of the more difficult tracks to pass on. Something we'll be watching with that throttle management all night tonight, especially in turns 3 and 4.
Lots to keep an eye on, and that leads us to the start of this race. Qualifying has come to a close, and we're going to talk about the starting lineup, Chris. Passing isn't necessarily going to be easy tonight, so drivers going to be starting up front are definitely going to have a bit of a hole shot on the rest of the field, and that leads us to the pole sitter tonight, Cody Giles. He's picked up a couple of wins this season. He's proven that he's not afraid to mix it up with the best of them in Mystic Racing League. He's going to be starting from the very front tonight with Evan Janik, and Chris, you were there last week. I wasn't, but in watching the replay, I was amazed at the end of the race at what that 71 car did to come from all the way back in 12th up to a third place finish at the end of the race, but all for naught. He had a black flag, I believe, for changing lanes at one point in the race, so doesn't get credited with that third place finish, but that shows you that determination that 71 car has. Speaking of determination, Chris, third place inside the second row, Brad T. Nelson starting third. He's come on hot as late We can look at that 33 car as being a contender tonight, end up in victory lane. Alex Pollock, another hot streak going for that number 92. He's going to be starting to the outside of row 2 in 4th position. Aaron Esp in that 16 car. He's had speed all season long, but hasn't found victory lane tonight. Very well might be an opportunity. And speaking of victory lane, last week's winner, Christian Barnes, in that 27 late race pass to win at Charlotte to collect win number 1 of the season. He's got the win behind his back right now with Gavin Henson joining on the inside of row number 4, starting 7th for that 39. Jacob Cochran, he's got a couple wins this season, starting 8th in that number 84. Zach White, top 10 qualifying effort for that 77. Should good see some speed out of that 77. He's coming on strong as well. With Joshua Gillum, the 10 will start 10th on the outside of row number 5 tonight. David Moore, he's had a bout of bad luck over the course of the season. Can he correct that tonight, starting 11th in that number 47? Brett Wren, we're going to be following that heart rate along with Brett tonight in that number 24. He'll be starting 12th. Adam Holston going to be starting 13th in that 8 car after a strong second place finish last week. Couldn't hold on for the win, but he holds on for second. Alan Zukoff going to be starting 14th on the outside of row 7, that 91. He's had some speed as of late. Chris Benning, a new driver in the field over the past couple weeks. He's going to be starting 15th in that 64 with Gino Volante to his outside in the 35. Stephen Gill in the 01 will be starting 17th. Caleb Hunt in the number 78 Prince car. We'll be talking about that tonight, starting in the 18th position. Andy Berry 19th, Reggie Kime 20th, and you have 20 cars starting the race tonight. Actually, 21 with Robert McKay starting in the 21st position. Chris, you still got a copy on me?
Yeah, still got you loud and clear, Ellis. As we got a lot of drivers fall into the back of the field here as they have EOLs. The 5, that is Cody Giles. The 10 of Joshua Gillen. The 84 of Jacob Cochran. And the 88 of Robert McKay all fall into the back of the field, receiving EOL penalties here at the beginning of this thing.
So that's going to throw a monkey wrench into some of these drivers. We're going to have some drivers who were scheduled and slated to start up front having to charge hard. Stage laps tonight, we're looking at first stage being 30 laps, the second stage being 70 laps. Drivers are going to be in a hurry to get those championship points. Remember, top 5 get championship points at the end of each of those first 2 stages. Speaking of points, if you're watching right now, don't go anywhere. We're going to be doing a little bit of trivia later to give away a Alex Bowman. I believe he's a Nashville winner. Diecast here later on tonight. We'll be asking some trivia questions about Nashville. So whether you know a lot about Nashville or you want to learn, stick around for that trivia. Chris, if you are the crew chief of someone like Brad T. Nelson, who now really, for all intents and purposes, is going to be starting on the pole, he's been running top 5, top 7 much of the past 6-7 weeks, but tonight he doesn't have anyone in front of him. Does that mess with your mentality as a driver? Can you psych yourself out? What are you telling that 33 if you're on top of the pit box for Coach Brad Nelson?
Yeah, it could definitely be a little bit different sight than what, you might be used to. I'm going to tell him nice and smooth here on this opening lap. Let's not throw it away. Got a good opportunity tonight. Good opportunities for a lot of drivers. They're coming to the first opportunity. Green flag drops on race number 17 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series for Mystic Racing League, live from Nashville. That's Brad Nelson and Evan Janik headed down into turn number 1. Nelson, the pole sitter, on the inside. Janik gets a bunch of speed on that outside line. That Morgan Wallen, number 71, he holds a tight wheel. They're side by side, headed down the backstretch. Yeah, Evan Janik's going to almost clear him. Not quite, though. Here comes Brad T. Nelson battling back. But I think Janik's going to have the run on the outside right there. And I think he recognizes, Ellis, how important it is to get this track position early. But here comes Nelson trying to battle back. Battling back. One car battling back. We almost have a crash down the back. Straight away we do. We almost avoided it. Several cars sideways. 2 slide through the grass down into turn 1.
That's
We're
Andy
still
Berry.
going to be under green flag conditions. Berry loose. We're still green flag racing at the front. It's a battle for the lead. The 71 and the 33, Janik, as well as Brad Nelson, maintain positions. Now Nelson slides back to the front, crossing over Evan Janik. Now Janik will try to make the same move on Brad Nelson as they cross the line to come to lap number 3. Great back and forth racing right there. The 2 cars that slid through the infield grass were Andy Berry and Gino Volante. Race control keeps it green, though, and Evan Janik is going to clear Brad T. Nelson to move out in front. Meanwhile, off of turn 4, we saw Brett Wren get super loose in that Taylor Swift machine. but he's going to straighten it back up, and he is back in line right here in the 7th position.
That 27 right in front of him, Christian Barnes, last week's winner in 6th position, where he started. One car on the wall behind them gets it gathered back up. Barnes and Wren were right on top of each other for a moment. In the meantime, Barnes has slid up about 4 or 5 car lengths in front of Brett Wren, but right now an even bigger battle brewing between Alex Pollock, I believe that is number 39 of Gavin Henson, and Aaron Espy not too far behind them. That's a battle going on for the 4th position with that 39 Juice World RIP car on the outside. Is that a KISS car that Alex Pollock is driving tonight, Chris?
I do believe it is. He's got that KISS machine up here in the top 5. And when we talk about first-time winners, this could be a couple of them right here. Gavin Henson and Alex Pollock. They've been up there near the front all season, battling in the top 5 as Brett Wren gets loose behind these guys again. But the winner could come from those 3rd or 4th positions tonight.
I think you've got a lot of drivers we're looking at as potential threats to win over the course of the evening. All's quiet at the front. Evan Janik maintains his lead over Brad Nelson. Henson into 3rd, Pollock in 4th. Meanwhile, it's a freight train behind the 27 of Christian Barnes. I believe that was Cody Giles beating off the wall there just a little bit across the start-finish line. He's going to lose that spot. It's going to break that pack up just a little bit, Chris, and you saw just how difficult turn 4 exits can be here at Nashville. That slippery concrete surface taking some victims early with the number. Actually, that wasn't Cody Giles. That was David Moyer, I believe, in that number 8. That was actually Adam Holston. That paint scheme threw me for a loop.
Yeah, that's Adam Holston and in the number 8 right here. And he is right behind Brett Wren, who's doing a lot of blinking on the speedway right here in the last about lap and a half. There he goes again, blinking again. If you're Adam Holston right here, this is very trepidous times right here. You really want to be careful around this driver right here because you don't know when he's going to possibly reappear on the track. If your car is actually going to be inside or outside of him, this is a good way to find yourself in some trouble early on.
Speaking of trouble early on, Christian Barnes just lost position to Cody Giles in that 5. You're watching that battle right now. Oh boy, Brett Wren into the wall there off the corner. Going to cost him a little bit of speed. It's going to throw him back into the clutches of Adam Holston, that number 8, one more time. And behind them, Chris, the number 47 of David Moyer, starting 11th, now in 10th, looking for one more position. He's got some speed in that Cessna number 47. We've seen David Moyer have a pretty good stretch in recent weeks, just looking at the stats for him. At Charlotte, walked away with a top 10 finish. Milwaukee also finished, Sonoma finished 10th. So 2 top 10s in the last 3 races for David Moore. He's got a little bit of momentum in that number 47. Got a Guns N' Roses, I should say, paint scheme tonight on that number 47.
Yeah, he's actually got a number 87 on the side of it right here, which doesn't match what's on the pylon, but he does have Guns N' Roses on that machine right now, and yeah, he's got a good run going. Meanwhile, who just passed him right there, that is Jacob Cochran. I think Jacob Cochran is in a Limp Bizkit paint scheme. Put him up into the 11th spot after that EOL. He's looking to pad his win total this season and possibly get another one here tonight.
It's a good-looking paint scheme, and if you've noticed a trend, fans, we have mentioned several musical artists' name, and it should come as no surprise. Mystic Racing League challenged these drivers this week with coming up with some cool musical-themed paint schemes, and we've seen some good ones. We'll show them off throughout the night. Now you're seeing Limp Bizkit up against Taylor Swift, 2 genres that wouldn't normally compete against each other, but right now that Limp Bizkit machine of Jacob Cochran, that 84, is going to slip by and win that musical battle. That's a battle for the 8th position. If you're in the chat right now, we appreciate you tuning in. Whether you participate in the chat or you're just watching, let us know you're here. John Rapp is here. Julie, my mother-in-law. Hi there, Moki. Appreciate you joining in. Brianna Fondren rooting for that 10 of Joshua Gillen. We got some trivia coming up later on in the evening. Some questions about Nashville Music City, so you can learn a little bit, improve your knowledge about what you know about Nashville here. Right now, we are officially 11 laps in. We're green all the way so far. Janik and Brad Nelson, you haven't missed anything up at the front. That battle's been about 4 or 5 car lengths over the course of the past 5, 6, 7 laps. That is maintained, although Brad Nelson really charging hard in that corner. You can see that as they enter into turn 1, but Chris, he pays the price on the outside. Talk to us about the difference in line and entry we just saw there from those 2 guys.
Yeah, just a couple different approaches. You can definitely maybe try to get out of the wake of that driver that's behind you. You see right there on entry to turn 3, Brad T. Nelson taking a little bit more of a direct approach, whereas Evan Janik looking to maybe arc that thing out a little bit more. Just trying to get a little bit of clean air on that left front headlight. Look how we're riding on board looking back from the roof right there. I can definitely see how the 33 is maybe charging corner entry and trying to get back in the gas really, really soon. I'm a little bit worried about that mentality possibly on the long run tonight. I think that might wear out that right front tire a little bit quicker. You can see how that car is sliding up mid-corner right there where Janik stays lower a little bit longer. I think that's possibly what you want to do on the Speedway tonight.
I think we're going to see several different approaches, and you're going to see different results as we watch right now a battle going on between, I believe that is the number 5 and the 39. This is a battle for the 3rd position. Cody Giles trying to hold off Gavin Henson. In that 39, he does a really good job right there on the exit turn 2. Gavin Henson having a great run, one of his best of the season. We've seen him have some good runs in the Truck Series that runs on Wednesday nights. Victories eluded him so far in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, which runs the Xfinity car. But Gavin, just looking through his stats just over the course of the season, Gavin had a 9th place finish at Charlotte, a 5th place finish at Gateway, and a 6th place finish at Road America. So he hasn't run all the races, but he's had 3 top 7, 8 finishes in the past 3 races. So Henson's got some momentum built up behind him. He's kind of channeled that into a top 4 run going on tonight. So good run going for the driver of that 39. So he got a special paint scheme in that number 39 going on.
He's got Juice WRLD on the
Juice
hood
WRLD,
of his machine right there. Meanwhile, back behind Gavin in the 5th spot, that is Aaron Espy right there in that Metallica machine. He has just made the pass on Alex Pollock to move up into the 5th spot, so Aaron's moving up through the field as well. Nobody's really made the move, though, that Cody Giles has made, Ellis. Cody Giles doesn't show in our official start positions. It looks like he has lost spots, but he is one of those that received an EOL penalty at the beginning of this thing. Started at the tail end of the field, and here we are on lap 16. Cody Giles finds himself in the 3rd spot.
And I'm curious if we can just quickly, Johnny, maybe pull up a lap for lap on our package to see just how much. I'm not sure if that lap data is correct or not, but he's been gaining on the cars in front of him lap after lap. I think with him kind of making up the distance later on in this run, that's changed just a little bit, but he has been picking up spots left and right. And that is the number 5 of Cody Giles. Got a couple wins under his belt. Looking for another one tonight here in Nashville. Meanwhile, that battle that we were watching back in the 5th position with Aaron S., Christian Barnes, Alex Pollock, and Jacob Cochran. This is one of the best going on the track right now. Christian Barnes, last week's winner at Charlotte, makes the move on the number 16 of Aaron S. and that Domino's number 27 down to the inside while S climbs the banking in turns 3 and 4, trying to ride that momentum on the outside line, maintaining just a little bit more horsepower there side by side as they come out of turn number 4. This is a battle for the 5th position. And Chris, we just got about 15 laps, actually 12 laps left in stage 1. So this is a battle for stage points right here. Both of these drivers in championship conversations, they want to get as many playoff points as possible to benefit them later on in the season. And Christian Barnes is going to win that battle right now in that number 27. Hey, let's just talk about this real quick. We see this Domino's car out here all week. Domino's the best pizza or not?
As far as like chains go, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like you have the big 3, right?
Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's.
I would say that's probably the big 3. I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to say.
Let us know in the chat what you think the best pizza chain, delivery chain is, whether it's Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, or maybe you have another local favorite we don't know about. Let us know. Let us know where it is.
I think people are probably going to pick their local favorites, which I don't blame them. I think that, that's probably a good path to follow right there. So meanwhile, we had a battle going on for the 7th spot that has cleared up. While we were talking about all that, Alex Pollock has put a little bit of distance on that number 84 of Jacob Cochran. Those two were battling side by side while the battle for 5th was going on right there. Everybody hungry for those stage points as we might be having a battle going on right here. Things have gotten a little bit tighter up here in the second spot right here with Cody Giles getting around Brad T. Nelson.
Yeah, Cody Giles just got by coach in that number 33, Nelson. Great start. Started from the pole after a third-place qualifying effort. He is back to third position, but Cody Giles, we've talked about him, Chris. He got one of those EOLs, got sent to the back of the pack, and somehow in 22 laps, this guy has climbed all the way to second place. He's got the fastest hot rod on the track right now. That time by, he was about 2/10 faster than Evan Janik running in the lead, and with just 7 laps or so left in this stage, that's pretty darn good.
It is, and this bodes well for his chances tonight with, 22, 23 laps into this run right here, as he's still got a lot of speed and is still performing very well here on the track. At that time by, he was about half a tenth quicker that previous lap right there. Yeah, this bodes well for him, especially considering he was making all those passes, Ellis, coming up through the field, which will actually hurt the tires. So chances or prospects looking very good for Cody Giles tonight.
Yeah, I think we are going to have a lot of drivers in contention tonight. Lots of fast drivers. We've talked about the top 10 a lot, but just looking through, I want to go all the way back to 11th real quick. We'll monitor that battle that might be coming up for the lead, but the 64, Christopher Benning, in that bright red and green number 64. He's had a pretty good run going. We haven't seen a lot of him. In fact, I'm just looking through my results. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, that's a new country heard from. I don't know if we've seen Christopher this season.
We have not seen him this entire season. It's his debut. Started off in the 15th position. He's all the way up to 11th. He's made a couple of passes in that paint scheme. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. What kind of paint? Is that a watermelon paint scheme he's got on there?
It looks like a Ross Chastain, sort of eat Florida watermelon. Ross Chastain is from Florida and is a watermelon farmer, comes from a family of watermelon farmers. And here he is up here in the 11th spot, looking pretty good.
Looking pretty good in that number 64, making me want some watermelon right now. They're chasing the stage 1 win. 25 laps of 30 laps in stage 1 have elapsed. Just about 5 laps left as the leaders cross the line here. Chris, the battle has grown a little bit more tense up front. Evan Janik is slowly seeing that blue and white number 5 of Cody Giles slipping into his rear view mirror. It's getting just a little bit bigger each and every lap. Right now, Giles is about 2 to 3 tenths faster every single lap than Evan Janik, who he's chasing down for the lead in that Morgan Wallen number 71 as we ride on board, looking out the rear view. And you can see the same view that Janik's got. You can see it at home. That blue number 5. Cue the Jaws music is getting just a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And let's watch for a lap here, Chris, and see if we can't figure out where that number 5 is a little bit faster than the 71.
Yeah, right here in 1 and 2 right here. Just diving to the bottom right there. That car still has a good bit of turn, and you can see just that bottom lane here at Nashville Superspeedway, Ellis, has just so much more grip. It's a lot quicker, and it looks like to me Cody Giles is just able to get to that yellow line. Now, Evan Janik's doing a really nice job here in 3 and 4. Now, look how he gaps Cody Giles a little bit. He got to the bottom of the track down here on this end, and he's able to maintain on him. Let's look him down here in 1 and 2, and let's see if maybe Evan Janik does something a little bit different this time. Yeah, he's going to the bottom this time. Put some dirty air on the nose of that 5 machine. That's what you want to do right there. But Giles is still getting through turns 1 and 2 so well, and he's going to look to the inside.
Oh, and Janik closes the door, takes away that line for Cody Giles in the 5, but he might pay the price because that 5 sends it off up the banking down into turn number 4. He might have the lane. He doesn't. He's going to try to cross over the number 71. There goes Giles. We've just got about 2 laps left in stage number 1 here for race number 17 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series at Nashville Superspeedway. It's a battle for the lead in the stage win. The 5 of Cody Giles slides to the inside. They almost make contact on the exit of turn 2. Now they head down in turn 3 to see if they can't settle the score here.
Yeah, this is really, really close. It's really difficult to complete the pass, Ellis. This is one of the more difficult tracks to pass on without possibly running into that driver on your outside. You really need all the racetrack here at Nashville to be able to make that pass on, and you cannot do that. You cannot use it all when you got a driver on your outside.
You can't use it all. You got to be careful. You got to get out of that throttle, maybe even tap the brake a little bit. This is going to be the last chance Lap 30 of 30 for stage number 1. It's going to be Janik looking to hold off Giles right behind him in that blue and white number 5. He's not going to be able to make up any ground, at least on the center through the corner, but Giles gets a good bead on Janik off the corner. He jumps to the inside to see if he can't pull it off. At the line, it's about half a car length that Evan Janik claims. Stage 1 points. He gets the win there. Janik in the 71. Thrilling battle of the line. Hopefully we can see as good of a battle coming to the checkered flag tonight in just a little while. If you've joined us here for stage 1 for Mystic Racing League and Slingshot Racing Media, welcome in. We appreciate you tuning in. Got a lot of racing coverage left. Make sure you have subscribed and liked this video. If you haven't done so, it doesn't cost you a single dime and it helps us out immensely. Janik, Giles, Henson, Barnes, and Nelson winning out that top 5 position over Aaron Espy in that 16. Those drivers will receive championship points for their finishes in the top 5. And now we're going to be setting ourselves up for, I would imagine, Chris, some green flag pit stops. They got about 10 laps of fuel left in these tanks. I think they're going to be eager to get down pit road, not only get some good Sunoco fuel in that tank, but probably get some fresh Goodyear rubbers underneath their car as well.
Yeah, not in green flag pit stops, but yeah, under the stage break right here. Yeah,
break.
they will. Yeah, they'll be making pit stops right now, so that way they don't have to pit under green, and they probably, with the numbers that we got, Ellis, in the pre-race, I don't think they'll have to make green flag pit stops in stage number 2. I believe they will be able to just make it to the end of stage 2. If we go green flag from lap 30 to lap 70 here, once we go back green. So very, very important pit stops here.
Important pit stops. Evan Janik and Cody Giles lead the rest of the field. You can see that long line, all 21 cars coming down pit road here at one time. It can be treacherous under caution yellow flag conditions with everyone coming down the same pit road. You got to make sure you look for your pit flag to make sure you don't slide it in or overshoot your pit. One driver almost does so, but everyone looks like they got in cleanly. Keep an eye on a couple of cars at one. Aaron Espy, I believe, in the 16. 6th position, he slides over Cody Giles and Evan Janik. One car comes out pit road first. Joshua Gillen, based on those numbers, missed his pit stall, Chris. He did not come to the attention of his pit crew. Evan Janik wins the battle off pit road, maintains the lead over Cody Giles. Gavin Henson going to be 3rd, Christian Barnes 4th, with Brad Nelson coming out 5th. Unfortunate turn of events for Joshua Gillen. I know we got some number 10 fans watching at home. It looks like he missed his pit stall, Chris. So he comes out in the lead, but I don't think it was the way he wanted it to happen. And speaking of fresh oil, fresh gasoline, we're going to hear from one of the presenting partners for Mystic Racing League here in just a moment. This race is coverage is provided by AmSoil and one of our local AmSoil dealers, Evan Janik. He happens to be the leader at the moment. We'll go ahead and hear from them before we bring you all the green flag racing right after the break. All right, back here live from Nashville Superspeedway, Music City. Drivers just coming out of the pits, top 5, Gillen, Janik, Giles, Henson, and Barnes. Now, Chris, we haven't seen Gillen come down pit road. He might try to use this mistake to his advantage in that KISS car, that number 10, going to try to maybe work a little bit of tire strategy here, maybe kind of turn lemons into a little bit of lemonade. Driver's not getting the 1 to go yet. They'll be getting that this time around. I'm curious to see if we see that 10 come down pit road. He's not going to come down pit road. Oh, there he is. He comes down pit road. Good thinking, Josh, and that number 10. Not saying you weren't fast, but on old tires probably would have gotten eaten up and caused some traffic up at the front. Like we said, he missed his pit stall during that pit lane set of pit stops. Again, easy to do. Right now, drivers taking the choose. Evan Janik, no surprise. He's been strong on the inside all night long. He's going to choose the inside. It's going to be Cody Giles starting second on the outside. Gavin Henson pulls up to the inside in third, and Christian Barnes going to be on the outside of row 2 starting 27th. So your drivers had an opportunity to get their breath after a 30-lap green flag run. Cautions breed cautions, and I know this stage caution wasn't brought out by a crash, but when you get drivers bunched back up together, anything can happen. Drivers were cautious in the first portion of the race. Now maybe the gloves come off just a little bit. We're going to be curious to see if these drivers can hang on amidst what's probably going to be a growing amount.
Oh, we got trouble, Ellis.
2 cars. That was the number 64 and the number 77. That was Alan Zukoff and Christopher Benning, who had a good run going. I don't think we're going to see a delayed green here, but I'm not sure. Oh, the number, I believe one of the cars checked up and those guys just weren't ready for it.
Yeah, it looks like it was a little bit of stack up right there. And
we extended the caution. Pace car is likely going to come back out.
We'll see. It looks like, it looks like right there that it was just a little bit of a stack up, possibly. Easy to do sometimes under caution if, if these drivers are kind of surging forward, possibly trying to test out some gearing on the restart. But yeah, it does look like they're going to wait before going green here.
And I don't think any of those drivers had any serious damage, but just to make fans aware at home, these drivers do have a quick repair. So if they get some damage, the race isn't over. So if you're watching at home, don't panic if your driver gets in a crash. They're still going to have a chance. Josh Gillen says he's just out here messing around. Don't lie, Josh. You missed your pit stall. We saw it. We've done it. We've all done it. Own it. I'm just messing with you, Josh. We love having you in the chat, but focus on the race, not the keyboard right now. You got some fans at home. I know they'll be rooting you on. We'll be keeping an eye on that 10. You'll be back at the front before we know it. Connor joins in the chat. Welcome back, Connor. I'm glad to hear from you. It has been a few weeks. We are glad you're back. I'm glad I am back, and we're just back to normal here right now. We're going to be getting back to normal in just a moment. Green flag set to wave in just about half a lap. Promise, folks, we're going to do some trivia in just a little bit about Nashville, so make sure you got your thinking caps on. We'll cover that here in just a little bit. Right now, it's all about the restart. We're getting ready to go green. Evan Janik in that 71 on the inside. Cody Giles blinks a little bit to his outside. Pace car makes that hard left turn. We're getting set for the green flag in stage number 2. It's going to be on Janik to get him going. He enters the restart zone and he mashes that throttle. Green flag is out once again here at Nashville. Race number 17 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Janik gets the whole shot, but it's now a battle between Henson and Cody Giles. Henson up to second place after starting third. It's a big battle behind those two drivers. Several drivers side by side. They settle it out now, but it's going to be Cody Giles who gets the better of that second place battle on Evan, the 39 of Henson. Giles going to set sail towards the 71 at this point. Christian Barnes right behind them doing his best to hold off Brad Nelson.
Oh, one car in the wall.
Into the wall, got loose off of turn 4. Maybe a little bit of contact there. We've said that's the danger zone in pre-race, and we've seen a couple drivers fall into that danger zone over the course of this evening. Adam Holston, just the latest victim after that second place finish last week. This is going to put Holston second place in points all the way back to 10th position, losing a couple spots in that number 8. Christian, then heavy contact right in front of them. Nelson incredibly loose sideways through turns 3 and 4, somehow holds on to it, and somehow Christian Barnes didn't get taken for a ride along with Brad there, Chris.
Yeah, that was super close right there between those two drivers right there. Everybody's going to keep it straight, though. Everybody's going to keep on going. As meanwhile, we had a battle for the lead and a change for the lead. Cody Giles out in front now after starting at the back of this field. Is taking him through stage 1, but now he is here right here. Giles to the front. Evan Janik now in second.
Cody Giles is your leader. Janik second. Gavin Henson trying to get up there in the fray. But that battle for 4th position is only intensified. Brad Nelson caught right back up to the back of Christian Barnes, last week's winner at Charlotte. They've got Alex Pollock and Jacob Cochran breathing down their necks. Christian Barnes has to go. So does Brad Nelson if they're going to hold off those 6th and 7th place contenders of Pollock and Cochran. 4 cars throw a blanket over them right now as they head down into turn number 3.
Yeah, these drivers right here, they're just trying to get a little bit of air to that left front. Jacob Cochran looks like he's a little bit more aggressive with it as the 33 tags the wall. Oh, some contact! Hard in the wall.
Like into the wall. Big contact. Debris flies all the way down the front straightaway.
Oh, watch him, guys.
Drivers have to take evasive action to miss it. And boy, you saw that one, Chris, brewing for at least a corner or two.
Yeah, you did right there. These drivers on the restarts right here, they recognize how difficult it is to pass. Looking at the replay right here, there's Nelson, and he's just going to get a little too far out right there. He gets a little bit behind on the steering, and I think that, yeah, there's going to be some contact from behind right there. The Kiss machine of Alex Pollock tags him. A lot of front-end damage to that 33 machine. Pollock has a lot of damage as well. Actually, it's not as severe to that 92. I take it back. So the 33 machine is probably going to definitely be taking a fast repair here. It looks like
he does have a meatball. Yeah.
And he also had to tow Ellis, so that means that he's going to be losing some track position. Yep.
If you're just joining us at home, the first natural caution has come out tonight here on lap number 42. Brad Nelson colliding with the number 92 of Alex Pollock as we ride on board here. Chris, could you say that 92 kissed the back bumper of Brad Nelson in that 33?
Yeah, you could say that. As much as Alex probably doesn't want to hear that, yeah, you could definitely say that. And he's coming to pit road this time right here. Be curious to see if maybe he just tries to get some of this damage fixed and keep on going, and possibly save that fast repair for later in the race.
That could be a good strategy call for him at this point. We're going to have a couple of laps of caution, which gives us a good opportunity to maybe try out the trivia. Johnny, are you ready for a little bit of trivia? It's your first time operating the board. Let me know. I'll be watching to see if you are ready. Just let me know when you are ready for that. First question, everyone. If you're playing at home, what iconic product was first sold at a pharmacy in Nashville in 1897? Some Nashville history for you. If you never played diecast trivia, here are the rules. Tonight, we're giving away an Alex Bowman 1/64th scale diecast. First two correct answers into the chat, they get the trivia points. We'll do 3 or 4 questions over the night. The fan with the most trivia points, the most correct answers within the first 2 shots on the YouTube chat, they get the points. The winner will have the most points. We'll send you a free NASCAR diecast in the mail just for tuning in. We already got some answers in the chat. Cotton candy, root beer, bubble gum, or energy drinks. Those are your 4 answer choices. What iconic product was first sold at a pharmacy in Nashville in 1897? Chris, you and I are both history teachers, history buffs. I did not know the answer to this trivia question, so even we're probably going to learn a little bit something tonight. Let us know in the chat what the first iconic product, or what iconic product was first sold at a pharmacy in Nashville. First 2 correct answers are going to get the points for the trivia for the diecast tonight. Right now, drivers taking the choose rule. Probably not much of a surprise. Cody Giles going to take the inside. Evan Janik going to have to settle for the outside. We've seen that 71 have a little bit of speed on the outside, though, over the course of the evening. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Got a couple guesses at the trivia in the chat right now. What product was first sold in a pharmacy in Nashville in 1897? We'll give you another half a lap or so to get your answers in. Right now, I got a couple answers. We got Joshua Gillen, Brianna Fondren. We got Connor Lyons with his guess. Oh, by the way, Chris, Connor says Denny Hamlin will not compete in the race, the NASCAR Cup Series race in Mexico this weekend due to his wife potentially giving birth. Getting set for the restart here in just a moment. Correct answer for that question, Chris. Any idea?
I know it. It's cotton candy.
It is cotton candy. The unfortunate part, we didn't have any correct guesses, I should say, in the chat. But hey, it was cotton candy. Right now, drivers not going to be looking to win some cotton candy. They're going to be looking to win a trophy. Cody Giles getting ready to get us going again here for the 3rd restart of the race. He mashes that throttle at the very end of that restart zone. A couple drivers have to check up. Evan Janik doesn't get a good start. Giles gets away cleanly. The battle is for second between Henson, Janik, and Barnes. Almost contact between, I believe that is Jacob Cochran in the back bumper of the 27 of Christian Barnes. Close one there. There goes Janik by the number 39 of Gavin Henson, making up a little bit of the ground he lost on that restart. working his way by the outside, maybe the more difficult way around this track, especially as we exit turn 3. It's been a trouble spot for many drivers over the course of the evening so far. About 1 car length separating the entire top 7, nose to tail, nose to tail. You got to go back to 7th position back there to find David Moyer, who's having a great run in that number 47, one of his better runs of the season tonight. We were talking about David having some good finishes in his last 3 races. He had some bad luck earlier this season, but that 47 or 87, as you're seeing on your screen, is coming on pretty strong in that Guns N' Roses car. He's locked and loaded tonight as we enter into lap number 46 of 120 at Nashville Superspeedway. Giles leads as we watch the top 7 or 8 roll their way through turns 1 and 2. Chris, that number 5 car, it just looks planted. It looks locked. It looks like it is feeling good right now for Cody Giles in that blue and white number 5.
Yeah, he's super comfortable up here at the front of this thing. This is exactly where you want to be, of course, in the lead, but you definitely want to have all that clean air hitting the nose, because without all the dirty air coming off the wake of these machines, Ellis, you don't have, the resistance for the tire wear that you might have as you are back here in traffic, which makes Cody Giles' run in the first stage all that more impressive, considering that he was in all that dirty air and was still charging up strong there towards the end. I think these drivers are going to have a very difficult time possibly being able to handle that 5 and make that pass, but as they say, there's a long way to go, Ellis, and a lot can happen before the end of this thing.
Yeah, we still got about 70 laps to go, so we've just crossed over the 3rd waypoint of this race as we watch Giles extend his lead over Evan Janik. Biggest battle on the track right now, probably going on for the 4th position. It's Christian Barnes trying to hold on to that spot over Jacob Cochran, who's racing, I believe, trying to look at the Limp Biscuit car. We've talked about that one, that black and purple machine. There it goes. Jacob Cochran on the inside, almost a little bit of contact. Barnes pinching that number 84 down to the yellow line, but he's got every right to do so, especially with how important real estate is through turns 3 and 4. You don't want to go too far up the track. Barnes does a good job of not losing too much ground as Jacob Cochran makes that pass for the 4th position. And looking at the stats just for Jacob Cochran over the course of the season, we try to keep track of how these drivers do. I don't believe Cochran raced at Charlotte, but he won at Milwaukee, and then he finished 2nd at Gateway. Yep. He knows his way around some of these mid-distance, not necessarily full short tracks, but, some shorter tracks, and I think we're seeing that pay dividends tonight for that number 84. 6 top 5s, Chris, in the 9 races that Cochran has won, and that includes 2 wins on the season, one at Talladega and one a couple weeks ago at Milwaukee. That 84 is looking pretty stout tonight.
Yeah, and Ellis, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a 100% track sort of like Milwaukee is, and some of those tracks that you mentioned, Jacob Cochran being very fast on, but I would say probably the techniques that you have to carry forth, I think there are some similarities. I would consider this to be a fairly technical track, and so, I'm not surprised at all to see Jacob fast tonight. He's another driver that started at the back of this field, and so has worked his way up there into this position right now here in the top 5. Looking really, really solid right there in that number 84 Limp Biscuit machine. Back behind him, last week's winner, that is the 27 of Christian Barnes, as we look right here at Reggie Kime, actually, in the mystery machine. Kime right here running in the 16th position. That Scooby-Doo machine right there. He's going to need some Scooby snacks possibly on this pit stop to get that thing tuned up, Ellis.
Gonna need some Scooby snacks indeed. Reggie Kime getting ready to go a lap down here pretty close as Cody Giles continues to just build his lead over the rest of the field. Talked about Reggie Kime running 17th right now. Up to 9th position. Let's take a quick look at the 9th position, Johnny. We talked about musical paint schemes tonight, and I've already picked my favorite, and it's that number 78, Caleb Hunt, sitting in the 9th position, and that is a Prince car. That is not something you would typically see in a NASCAR race, but as a huge Prince fan myself, I am super excited to see him represented in that purple number 78. If you know Caleb Hunt, he loves to run purple cars, so this just felt like a natural fit to have Prince on the front of that car. It's a good looking. You can't go wrong with the purple paint scheme. He's got a battle brewing on behind him, though. Brad Nelson, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is that Brad? Brad Nelson's a couple laps down. He's trying to work his way back up the field. I'm looking at his lap time. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say that is Stephen Gill behind him, though. They were side by side, and Stephen Gill is in the 10th position in that number 01 machine. And Gill, I'm trying to figure out, I do admit that I haven't seen what his paint scheme is, so I'm trying to look at it as he comes by right here in that 01. He's got the 01 down there by the left front. It looks like, oh, it's five-finger death punch. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. In that
I'm not
01.
cool enough to know what that band is.
But yeah, he's got that thing in the 10th spot. Really solid run for Steven tonight. He's had some tough luck this season here in recent weeks, and he's looking to turn it around tonight. He's got the reverse Dale Earnhardt paint scheme off of this thing that he's had in recent weeks, and I think that maybe might pay off for him tonight. Maybe get some of that bad luck away from him.
Yeah, 10's got a good run going, trying to get a little bit further up towards Caleb Hunt. As we watch Brad Nelson try to claw his way back from 2 laps down, started on the provisional pole essentially for tonight for all intents and purposes, but we saw him involved in that lap 41 crash just about 16 or 17 laps ago. Now 57 of 120 laps have elapsed. We are looking at just about 13 laps shy of finishing stage number 2. Points are on the line for the top 5. All quiets at the front. Cody Giles continues to lead Evan Janik. That is a battle that has maybe heated up just a little bit over the past couple laps. Janik hasn't really let Cody Giles inch out any further in the past 5 or 6 laps. Gavin Henson has come on strong. He's running lap times, Chris, equivalent with the leader right now. So while that might not mean much for the end of stage number 2, that similar pace could put him up in contention in that final most critical stage of the race.
Yeah, those front 3 right there, I feel like, Ellis, are running very, very close in lap times right there. The last lap, actually, Evan Janik was slightly quicker than Cody Giles. I'm curious to how much Evan Janik is actually pushing that machine right here on the speedway. He might be pushing fairly hard, try to see if he can maintain that pace on him. That time by, it looks like maybe slipped a little bit because Cody Giles appears to be the fastest car on the track by 1/10 of a second that lap.
Yeah, Cody Giles has definitely picked up the pace. Must have heard us talking about how Evan Janik hadn't gotten far enough away from him, riding on board right now with Evan Janik, doing everything he can do to chase down Cody Giles in the lead. And if you're watching at home, take a look at those hands. We talk about, these drivers just run in circles, whether it's real-life NASCAR or iRacing simulation. These drivers, they got work to do through these corners. You can see those hands moving around for Janik, doing a little bit of counter steering through the corners. You can see the bumps also from this rough concrete surface at Nashville. Chris, you want to take us through a lap here once they cross the start-finish line? Talk to us about what is likely going on for Evan Janik as he enters and exits those corners.
Yeah, sure, we definitely will, and this will be a good driver to ride along with. He knows the line around here. He knows what he's doing right here. Coming down the front stretch right here, we're going to cross the start-finish line at this point right here. You're going to try to get to that yellow line. Then you're going to go all the way out there towards that wall, Ellis, and then you're going to dive down into this turn right here. Not a ton of baking here at Nashville Superspeedway, but the goal, get on that yellow line. There's not that much grip in that second line. That's why I talked about before about how track position's so important right there. Down this backstretch right here, you're going to do the exact same thing. A tad bit of brake right here, ease that thing down there, let it roll. Roll speed, very important here at Nashville Superspeedway. Not using a lot of brake, not using a lot of throttle at that point, easing back into that throttle, and then wide open right here across the line. Ellis, it is super hard to pass because of the fact that that top lane does not have the grip to get around. So if a driver's clogging up the bottom, it can be very difficult to get around them.
Hey, and as we watch on board, or look now at Evan Janik in second, sponsored by AMSOIL. He's actually an independent AMSOIL synthetic motor oil dealer. You saw that commercial earlier on in the race. They're running a special giveaway. $125 of motor oil. You get a free AMSOIL hat. And he's got a dealer code. That's 313-714-62. You can go back and look at the commercial earlier. It has that same number in it. But show Evan Janik a little support if you're looking for some motor oil and you want to try out a new one, or maybe you're a loyal AMSOIL patron. You can try some of that AMSOIL motor oil right now. He's got some motor oil pumping under that hood, running in second place, but right behind him, you can see the battle heat up between the 39 and the 84. That's Gavin Henson and Jacob Cochran. Cochran's got to be careful, Chris, not to slide up on the exit turn number 4.
So easy to do here with the lack of grip right there side by side, but he does a really nice job. I think that you're seeing right here at this stage of the run, Ellis, with just 7 laps to go here in this stage, what I was talking about earlier about how it can be very difficult to complete the pass. And Henson's doing a really nice job. I think that Cochran definitely has the speed right here on Gavin. Christian Barnes kind of looking on right here, trying to see if maybe he can follow one of them or maybe try to sneak around the outside possibly of Jacob Cochran. Here he is peeking again right here, our winner from last week. Actually, he's going to look to the inside of Cochran.
Cochran now defending on the outside. It's Christian Barnes, last week's winner at Charlotte, who ducks to the inside, try to gain positions on Jacob Cochran. Just about 5.5 laps left in stage number 2. This is a battle for points. Christian Barnes trying to solidify himself into the top 5. Jacob Cochran trying to hold on to that spot. It's going to have to wait for another lap for Christian Barnes if he's going to get by Jacob Cochran, who's now kind of gained a little bit of ground up on the 39 of Gavin Henson right in front of them. And we talked, I heard you mention this earlier, Chris, dirty air. You run the same, one car sideways behind them. I believe that is Robert McKay and the number 88. Fresh tires, cold tires came out there. I thought we were about to have a little bit of an incident with Robert McKay, who just made a pit stop and got fresh tires. But this battle continues to heat up. Battle for 4th position. Now 3rd, it's Jacob Cochran, and the number 39 of Henson wins that duel on the outside, and that momentum from the outside, winning the day so far in most cases that we've seen as of late, especially as the run goes on. Jacob Cochran now back to the 4th position. There you see Robert McKay. And Chris, this is a challenge. He's got fresh tires. If I'm the 27, the 84, I'm just kind of, I'm thinking to myself, we got 3 laps. Can you just wait? But he's thinking, I want to try to catch the leader and get one of my laps back.
Yeah, he wants to be able to get his lap back here and, not have to take the wave around, because if he has to take the wave around, he's going to start all the way behind all these guys at the tail end of the lead lap. You don't want that. You want to be able to get it right here, right now. That's what happened when he slid sideways. He charged upon these guys really fast with those fresh tires. And with having the speed that he had, Ellis, he almost ran into the back of him and had to lock him down. But here comes Barnes to the inside of Cochran. He's going to try to take that 4th spot.
Barnes in that blue 27, last week's winner, has to lift on the throttle. Will Cochran lift as well? The answer is no. Somehow they keep it out of the wall. Less than a sheet of paper separates the right side from the left side of those 2 cars as they head down into turn number 1. Barnes on the inside, Cochran on the outside. Those are 2 winners. Those are 2 championship contenders, and they're racing like it right now, side by side. Barnes gains a little bit of an edge on the exit of turn 2, rolling that inside line. Will Cochran try to fight back on the outside down into turn 3? The answer is emphatically, at least just for a moment, can he maintain that left front nose on the outside of the 27? He will do so as they cross the line. That is going to be the end of stage number 2. We should see the caution flag in just a moment.
Well, actually, they're gonna make it all.
Yep,
yeah,
that is stage
this is the
number.
This is the final lap of the stage, Ellis.
Yeah, white flag. Sorry, I forgot that the leader had already crossed the line. Cody Giles just that far out in front, proving just how dominant that car is tonight. But that battle will at least continue. Looks like Christian Barnes is going to lose out on that battle. Sorry, he's going to win the battle with Jacob Cochran. Sorry about that. Yellow flag is out. That's the end of stage number 2 here. Just 49 laps left. We're coming to the final stage of this race. We're going to have some yellow flag pit stops to set up the track position. And Chris, one thing we can cover before they come in, we don't think they can make it on this stop alone. Does that change the strategy? Do you come in, try to get 4 tires now, and then do a splash and go at the end? Is that the call if you're the crew chief on top of the box, at least for these drivers up front right now?
Yeah, I think they will definitely have to pit here because they are probably right there on their number anyway. They're probably very close to running out of fuel at this stage anyway. So I think that everybody will definitely come into pit road here under this under this caution flag. And then, Ellis, I think that you might see some drivers maybe try to top off on the one to go, maybe. I'm not sure. Well, pit road might be closed, so that might not quite work out. But we'll have to see how this goes right here. It is going to be very close. If it does go green to the end, I could definitely see splash and go right here in the final stage under green.
We are going to be holding on to our breath here to see what Cody Giles, what Janik do, what Gavin Henson, Christian Barnes, Jacob Cochran all do. They're going to come down to the attention of their pit crew. A couple cars overslid their pit stalls earlier. They had to back up. That can costly seconds off of their stops here, which could prove pivotal to losing track position. Right now, you start to see the first drivers making those left-hand turns to the attention of their pit crew. Giles gets in first. Janik, look at the exit Janik's got set up. I'm not sure if he had to back it up or not there, but he's already pointed to the right. That is going to pay dividends on the exit here. One car, I believe, that is Joshua Gillen.
He's just rolling again. Looks like,
yeah Gillen. No, Chris. Gillen did make a pit stop there. No, he didn't. He came in earlier, I think, under the last caution potentially, but this is going to be maybe just trying to lead a lap. But I think Reggie Kime is going to thwart that just a little bit, Chris, for Joshua Gillen, because Kime stayed out as well. He is going to be leading the pack, and I'm curious to see he did not come down. Whoa, Reggie Kime. No, sorry. It was showing me the last data from the last pit stop. But that number 9, the Mystery Machine, the Scooby Snack Mobile, looking pretty good out front. You're never going to miss that number 9 car. And just looking at the stats for Reggie over the course of the season, it's been a bit of a downer the past couple of weeks. Finished 21st at Charlotte, 19th at Milwaukee, but he did have an 8th at Sonoma as well as a 7th at Rockingham. So some bright spots in the past month and a half or so for that number 9 car of Reggie Kime. He's going to be leading the field. I'm curious to see. He didn't come down pit road that time, so he might try to pull a little bit of strategy here. He's on old tires. He's got to be almost out of fuel if my numbers are correct, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of strategy he or Gillen can pull here, because with the numbers we got, they're almost out of fuel. So I would be shocked if we didn't see them come to pit road here at the conclusion of this lap right here. Go and get their tanks full of fuel, put some tires on those things, and maybe they'll be sitting in a really good spot right here towards the end of this thing. I still think that is asking a lot if they go green to be able to make it without coming to pit road. I think probably everybody's going to have to make a pit stop before the end of this thing.
Speaking of making a pit stop, we're going to cover some of those other stories to follow, but we got to make a pit stop of our own here in just a moment. Our final ad break of the race, we're going to hear from our big partners here at Slingshot Racing Media. Of course, we're talking about Whiplash SimCams. They bring us great camera angles for you, the audience, to enjoy every single week at home. The ones that producer Johnny's using in the booth right now, they look good, and they're from Whiplash SimCams. We'll hear from them, and we'll be back right on the other end of this break. Back here live in Music City, Nashville Superspeedway. Final stage of race number 17 for the Fall Creek Plumbing Series from Mystic Racing League coming up. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and producer Johnny in the booth right now. It's going to be a tense, tumultuous, chaotic final 45 laps of this race coming up. To set it up, Reggie Kime is going to, Chris, he's going to start from the inside. Cody Giles, Kime, we think, is almost out of gas. He's on old tires. I think he's going to try to make this green flag pit stop from the lead, and we're going to find out what he's going to do here, Chris. But all bets are off. They're coming to the restart zone. He's going to enter it right about now. That 9 matches the throttle. He's got to be careful not to spin those old, worn-out Goodyear tires. He gets a decent restart. He's on the inside, but he's not going to be able to hold off Cody Giles and Christian Barnes on those old tires. I just hate to say it, but it was a hell of a gamble. It was a hell of a fight, but you're seeing him right now. Gavin Henson just trying to get by that inside car right behind the 9. He's going to try to duck to the inside of Reggie Kine, but he can't go anywhere. That 39 is boxed in. He's lost a couple spots right now, and he gives the we got trouble. He's going to pay the price. Gavin Henson collects Adam Holston in one more car. Robert McKay, hard contact down the front straightaway. It's going to put us under caution. And Chris, I hate to say I told you so, but we saw that coming, and that we don't want to put blame on anyone, but that's the type of scenarios that happen when you've got cars very different speeds running up the front towards each other. And I don't know how Reggie has any fuel left at this point, but he's going to maintain, I believe, 5th position. He might get an EOL from that. We're going to have to see what the penalty is if they're going to credit him with that. But this is the caution that you needed if you're Reggie Kime. I'm a little not sure how to feel about this. As he comes down pit road. Well, I'm curious. Go ahead.
Let's look at the crash first right here, Ellis. So yeah, he does bounce off the rear bumper of Reggie Kime, and when he bounces off the rear bumper of Reggie Kime, unfortunately back behind him, the 87 of David Moyer just had nowhere to go and just bounces off of the rear bumper of Gavin Henson, sends him in the spin cycle. Andy Berry and Robert McKay were just innocent victims in this whole thing right here, Ellis. And I think that this is not only, possibly the timely break that Reggie Kime needed for fuel, but I think it possibly might be the timely break that everybody needed. Right on board right here with the Guns N' Roses machine right here of David Moyer, and you can see contact to the rear bumper, and that just sort of sends that 39 back into the front bumper of McKay right there. I'm sorry, of Moyer. Moyer, unfortunately, I don't think had anywhere to go, Ellis.
I think he was a victim of circumstances around him. Regardless of who's to blame, regardless of what happened, it still puts us under caution with just about 42 laps left in the book. It's going to set up probably a 39-lap shootout, and Christian mentioned it. It basically solidified these drivers' chances to make it all the way on this final tank of gas that they had just got done putting in the tank under that final stage caution here. I don't think we're going to see anyone come down pit road here. Be surprised. We didn't really have a whole lot of laps on those tires. To kind of go ahead. I
was going to say, we did have several drivers make a pit stop right there. Evan Janik is one of them. Evan Janik, Brett Wren, basically everybody from the 10th spot on back came to pit road that time, Ellis.
10th on back. Do you think that gives an advantage? Can they push it a little bit harder knowing that they're not trying to save any fuel?
Yeah, definitely. I would say they're definitely sitting in a very, very good spot here. I would say that Janik and everybody back behind them probably feels like they can push fairly hard right here. They're probably going to be really close to their number once we do go green. But I think that they probably feel like they can push hard now and then maybe save a little bit later. I don't think you want to go into max save mode right now because, you might possibly have some yellow flags that will make this a little bit easier for you anyway.
Hard to know when that point to hit the gas saving button happens, but these drivers, at least the top 9, they're going to be thinking about it at some point over the final 40 laps of this race, resetting things for the fans watching at home. It's Cody Giles in that blue and white number 5. He's had the car to beat all night long. Jacob Cochran hasn't been a slouch in that 84, starting on the outside of row 1 second. Christian Barnes has been fast. Caleb Hunt for the first time into the top 4 in that purple Prince number 78. We're not going to have to wait long to find out what's about to happen. They enter the restart zone at Nashville here, and it's going to be Giles who's going to hit the command throttle to take us back under green flag racing. Couple cars don't get a great start there. It's going to log jam up around 7th, 8th position, but it's going to be Giles who gets the best restart of them all. It's going to leave Christian Barnes to try to hold off Jacob Cochran on the outside. This is a great little battle going for second place right now.
Yeah, the battle for second right here between Barnes and Cochran. Cochran on the outside right here. We've been watching his progress throughout the night. Didn't make the huge jump up through the field like Cody Giles. A little bit more steady in his march up there to the second spot. But now he has it right here and is going to try to set his sights on Cody Giles. This is the best air that he's had probably all night as Barnes charges into turn one.
That's going to allow Christian Barnes to get real close to Jacob Cochran. It's going to allow Aaron Espy to get real close to the back of the 27. You could see the momentum that the 27 had, but it sent him up the track. He washed up just a little bit. He rectifies that this time around, loses a little bit of ground, though. And if you look up top, you saw Brett Rinn's heart rate, Chris, up to 114 BPMs. He's back in 9th position right now. He's got a good little scrum with Evan Janik as well as Chris Benning going on. Benning had a crash earlier on in the race, but you can see that heart rate. Brett's carrying that onboard technology for us tonight. He on these restarts, it gets wild, and right now it's settled around 102, 103. Still pretty high, but that thing was up to 115 plus on that restart. Now he's setting his sights on Christopher Benning. Brett has had kind of an up and down season. He's had a lot of speed over the course of the season, but he's kind of struggled to put together the entire race. He's had a top 10, and he's running the top 10 much of the season. He got a 9th place at Talladega and 11th place at Sonoma, but it's kind of been a struggle the rest of the season. So to see Brett having a good run in that Taylor Swift number 24 car tonight, good job, Brett. Kudos to that 24. He's got some speed. Excited to see him running the top 10 right now. Chris Benning in front of him, chasing down Caleb Hunt, who's fallen a couple spots from that restart just a couple of laps ago. He's fallen into the clutches of the watermelon machine of Christopher Benning back in 8th position, who's trying to get into the 7th position.
Yeah, and we saw Evan Janik did actually make the pass on Caleb Hunt right there and moved up into the 6th spot right there. There is Janik right there in the 6th spot. He made the pass on Hunt, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for Evan Janik coming up through the field here. He does have a little bit fresher tires, but it's not a huge advantage. I think that Janik is thinking of the long game tonight here, Ellis, thinking about possibly being able to, make it to the end of this thing if we do go green. This thing's got a green flag. Look to it at this stage right here. We made it through the opening laps of this restart. I don't want to jinx this right here, but this can make things very interesting in the closing stages of this if we go green all the way to the checkered flag.
It could be back in 12th position. It's a battle between Brad Nelson and Adam Holston. You can see that playing out right in front of us here. Holston gets passed by Nelson, but Holston's going to try to repay the favor down to the inside, uses that apron to get a little bit of a run. They're coming up on Alex Pollock in 11th position. Can Brad Nelson use that 92 as a bit of a pick on the number 8? It's going to work this time by. Holston had to get out of the throttle in that brown number 8 just for a moment to not get into the back bumper of that 92, and it allowed Brad Nelson to carry that momentum off the outside. We watch him working on Pollock right now at exit of turn number 4.
Yeah, Brad Nelson, what a great recovery. Laps down earlier in this thing. We saw the hard crash he had on the front stretch. He had to tow back to the pits because that thing was dead, and here he is all over the rear bumper of Alex Pollock, looking to charge to the inside right here. I think he might have position on him right here off of turn 2. He does, and he's possibly going to make a bit. Oh, we got contact! Henson into the 24. Wren is going to save it. Oh, no, and he gets hit.
Nelson and Wren collide. Holston's going to have to go through the grass to avoid it. Big crash here on lap number 88. Going to return to the scene of the crime here as we watch these cars come to a stop at the end of pit road. Looks like Zukov in that as well. We'll see if we can't find out what happened here to put us under caution for the 5th time on lap 88 of 120 tonight here at Nashville.
And Brett Wren had this thing saved right there. It looks like, yeah, Henson looking to the inside right there. Kind of a late move on the backstretch. I don't know if Brett Wren knew that he was there, but he saved it. He straightened it back out. And then here comes these faster cars. And as he was turning back down the hill, unfortunately, Brad T. Nelson could not avoid him right there. Gets into the door right there. They straighten it out again, though. And I'm not sure if there's any other cars that were spinning right there. I think Adam Holston had to go down in the grass, but that could have been a lot
across
worse.
The nose of Zukov there.
Yeah.
Wren probably just kind of worried about getting onto pit road. And speaking of pit road, this is going to bring a lot of drivers down pit road here. Christian Barnes, Jacob Cochran, Cody Giles, all making their way down pit road. Chris, one car didn't come down. That's Alex Pollock. We'll talk about that here momentarily. But right now, yellow flag pit stops for the 4th time tonight here for the leaders. This is going to set up about a 30-lap run to the checkered flag. Track position is everything. Can Cody Giles win it off? He does, but one car, Jacob Cochran, gains a spot on pit road. Christian Barnes 3rd. I believe that was Aaron Espy coming off 6th, and David Moyer retains that 7th position in that Guns N' Roses car. That was the battle for 3rd, which we're kind of treating like the lead, but Chris, 2 cars stayed out, and that was Alex Pollock and Reggie Kime. And right now we got both of them on 11-lap old tires. So that caution 2 times ago has really paid dividends, particularly for Kime here, is it's going to vault him up to 2nd position. And he's only got 11-lap older tires, Chris. Do you think this is a good strategy for Pollock and Kime?
I don't think it's a bad strategy. I think that they decided to pit. So these are the drivers that came to pit road on this previous caution right here, and so I think that they, along with Evan Janik, were going to be good. I think they're definitely, with this caution, good to make it to the end. I think the tire wear does matter here, so I'm not sure if they're going to be able to maintain the lead. Let's watch them over the course of this run, and when we get towards the end of this thing, if we do happen to go green to checkered flag right here, maybe they get a better finishing position than what they were going to get if they decided to come to pit road. I think that's what they're really hoping for.
I think so. A top 10, both of those drivers would probably be happy with that. Producer Johnny, we got to crank it up in us. We got Connor demanding one in the chat. We maybe going to try to make that possible here with some trackside cams. We'll allow you to watch all the action of the restart here. We won't run our mouths, and you can hear the sights and sounds of these. How many horsepower do these Xfinity cars have, Chris?
I'd say anywhere between, I don't know, probably around 700.
700 horsepower. You'll hear all of those horses on this restart. We're going to ride around, see what the 92 and the 9 do. If I'm 27 or 5, Barnes or Cody Giles, I'm a little bit nervous behind these cars on old tires. Pace car gets out of the way, pulls down, makes that hard left-hand turn. Leader Alex Pollock chooses the outside. We're going to see what's going to happen here. Green flag is out. Here we go. Pollock and Giles get off to a hot start. Kime back to 3rd position. And I said we're going to let it breathe. I'm going to let it breathe. All right, you saw it. You saw the sights and sounds. 700 horses going around these tracks times 20. You heard it all. Cody Giles got off to a hot start. He cleared the older tire cars of Alex Pollock and Reggie Kime. They're back in 4th and 7th, respectively. Cody Giles has now set his sights, but he's got Christian Barnes right behind him. Both of those cars have been fast all night long. They're chasing down the leaders. Meanwhile, Alex Pollock doing battle with Aaron Espy as they come down the backstretch. That KISS car versus the Metallica car. Side by side down into turns 3 and 4. Great battle going on for the 4th position.
Yeah, Pollock right here looking to the inside of Aaron Espy. Can't quite get the grip that he needs right there on those older tires. He's going to slip back right here, back behind Evan Janik right here. Falling in the clutches here of David Moyer. Some contact to the rear bumper. Woo. Moyer is going to keep it straight. So is Alex Pollock. Pollock way up the hill right there. That has crinkled up the left rear of that Ford Mustang. And that could have been bad, Ellis.
That could have been real bad, but fortunately for Alex, it was just a bit of a kiss to the wall, right?
Yeah, I guess it was unfortunate for him, but yeah, he's holding on to it right here. He's got a really difficult task ahead of him, along with Richie Keimer right here, trying to hold on to this position right here. He's back to the 7th spot at this point right here.
Ooh,
Actually
he
losing
slides up
7th.
in front of Moyer once again. Moyer has to get on the brakes there. This is getting tense, Chris.
Yeah, it is right here. And Moyer is he's been trying to get around Alex Pollock right here for a few laps right here. He's going to make the pass right here on the inside right here, and that'll actually put Alex Pollock back to the 10th spot. So it's looking like the call to stay out is not quite working out in his favor, Ellis.
11 laps on tires definitely makes a difference. Not paying the results that the 92 and the 9 had hoped for. Both of those cars losing at least 8, 9, 10 positions each on this restart, but it's put Cody Giles out in front of Jacob Cochran. We're monitoring lap times. That time by, Chris, Jacob Cochran was a click faster than Cody Giles. We'll see what they do this time by. It's going to take a lot more than a click if he's going to catch the number 5 machine 6/10 out now. That time by, he was again a click faster than Cody Giles. So the 84 definitely, as we ride on board of that Limp Biscuit machine, he's got speed under that hood. The question is, with just about 23 laps remaining between him and the checkered flag, is there enough time for him to run down the leader and the guy who's really dominated much of the race, Cody Giles, in that number 5? That will remain to be seen. That time by, Cochran was a tick slower. So if we're going by the data, we don't know if Cochran's got what it's going to take to get by Giles, but Chris, you said it's a long way to go.
Yeah, 23 laps right here. A lot can happen over the course of these 23 laps. If Jacob Cochran did what he did the previous 2 laps before this last one right here, he would be able to. But a lot can happen over the course of this run right here, Ellis. And I'm not even talking about just a caution flag. Just the rate at which you wear your tires compared to your competitors. That can really change right here. Is this time by, I think we're going to see maybe a faster lap, by Cody Giles than Jacob Cochran. So about the same split, about the same gap that what Jacob Cochran made up the previous 2 laps. These last 2 laps, he's actually lost that amount also.
Yeah, so things kind of balancing out there up at the front. Looking through the rest of the field for key battles, Brad T. Nelson, Adam Holston, they've been going at it here for a couple laps. Holston gaining ground up on Nelson there. He's that brown car who just took the spot away from Nelson. Holston vaults his way up to 6th position. Adam's kind of been really... We talked about him being the picture of consistency, Chris, over the course of the season. Just going back the past couple of races. Holston finished 2nd at Charlotte. He finished 4th at Milwaukee, 6th at Sonoma, 4th at Gateway, 7th at Road America. He's had a great season, and that's kind of been the story, what put him in the 2nd position in points. He's just been consistent. And tonight, the story is no different as he sits in 6th position, poised to maybe gain a couple other positions before now on the checkered flag.
Yeah, and I would say that this is probably the best that we've seen Adam Holston all night. He's just one of those grinded out kind of drivers, Ellis. Like you maybe won't see a lot of him during the course of the race. He does have that win in his back pocket. We know that he can show speed, but he's just always there at the end of these things right here. And this is just a grinded out kind of night that usually people who are really high up in the points are, they're really solid at those types of nights, not making any mistakes, being really disciplined on the track right here. And he has shown that he is that kind of driver here this season right here. Brad T. Nelson, we saw him to the inside of him earlier. Those 2 drivers almost made some contact, and Nelson is lurking behind him right here. A lot of speed in that 33 machine. Started up there near the front, and he's going to look to maybe see if he can get back by him. A lot of adversity to overcome for the 33 tonight.
You know a little bit about consistency and just finishing races and grinding out, Chris. You do the same thing every single week in the leagues that we run. So No one better to tell us about that type of mentality than you. And right now, Adam Holston continues to do just that. He's grinding it out. And Chris, want to point out to the audience watching right now on YouTube, top 4 cars ran almost identical lap times that last lap. We're going to see where they situate out this time by. Not too different. The fastest car on the track remained Cody Giles, but just by a click or so. So he's not really getting away from Jacob Cochran. He's been about 6 to 8 tenths the past 5 or 6 laps. So one thing to talk about is we've seen, Chris, Jacob Cochran be really good on long runs, but the bad news for him is Cody Giles has been just as good as on the long runs over the course of the races he's run. So 2 competitors who can really manage their stuff well.
Ooh. We almost had some big trouble right there, Ellis. I'm sorry, between Adam Holston and Gavin Henson. Holston was way up the track right there as Nelson was trying to get by. And yeah, we can see that left rear is crinkled up on the rear bumper of that number 8 machine.
And you can see just how tight he is, or looking like he's getting on the exit of the corner there. Not sure how much damage he did. 3 wide. Henson down to the bottom. 1 car in the middle. It's Holston on the outside. And boy, that somehow sorted itself out with Henson getting the better of it there, getting both of those positions. 2-for-1 special for that number 39 of Henson, who's climbing his way back up after calamity earlier in this race. Meanwhile, up at the front, things are stable. Cody Giles about 9 tenths, about 10 car length lead right now over Jacob Cochran. Christian Barnes has slid into 3rd position comfortably. I'm just looking at the lap times, and they're all identical. No one seems to have much of an edge over each other in the top 3, top 4. I thought Evan Janik might try to claw his way back into that battle as this battle between Caleb Hunt and Brad T. Nelson continues to heat up. There goes Brad to the inside of the 78. See if he can get the job done on the exit here.
Yeah, the 78 looks like he overdrove the entry just a little bit that time right there into turn 1, but he's going to get the run off right there and is going to clear Nelson to get single file right here going into turn 3. Caleb Hunt's had a really solid night tonight in that number 78 machine. Look at Nelson right there. He's sliding a little bit right there. He tried to get back in the throttle a little bit too soon right there in turns 3 and 4. Just sort of slid the nose a little bit. Look at him charge back right here on the bottom lane right there. Brad Nelson's got a lot of speed tonight, Ellis. He's just trying to figure out a way around the driver in front of him, Caleb Hunt, and that's very hard to do here.
Brad's just getting better and better and faster, and we're just about halfway through the season. So the rate this is going, Chris, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that 33 car in victory lane at some point before we reach the season finale. 109 laps down, just about 11 laps, now 12 laps to go from Nashville, resetting things for the fans at home. Cody Giles continues to lead. That's about a 10 car length gap back to Jacob Cochran, who is 2nd. Christian Barnes is in 3rd. Evan Janik has climbed his way to 4th, with Aaron Espy situated in that 5th position. That is your top 5 as we watch that Espy number 16 continue to circle his way around the track right now. Got some close battles going on. Gavin Henson right now going to be the next car to try to work his way by Brad Nelson across the start-finish line down into turn 1.
Yeah, and as they do make their way right here, we see Nelson right there. Yeah, he was trying to look like poke to the outside right there, but Henson firmly has the spot, and he tags the wall right there off of turn number 2 right there. Doesn't really hurt the speed too much, though. That 33 is going to poke a nose to the inside. He's sliding up the hill, almost slid up into the left rear of Gavin Henson. Everybody's going to straighten it out right there, though, as Henson's going to have the runoff right there and going to make sure he is firmly in place right there in that 7th spot. Put Henson 7th, Nelson in 8th, and man, look at David Moyer charge in right there all the way to the rear bumper of Nelson.
David Moyer slides to the back bumper. This battle continues down the back straightaway here at Nashville Superspeedway. Moyer in that Guns N' Roses car draws a bead on the bright green and black machine of Brad Nelson. I was thinking Craig T. Nelson, the actor from Coach. Brad T. Nelson trying to get by everything he can do. David Moore, we've talked about really having a good string of runs lately in that number 47 or 87 as you're seeing it live on TV right now. Both cars slide up the track right now. Nelson kind of Moyer followed Nelson into the corner.
Ooh.
Nelson throws the block, slamming the door down into turn 3. Aggressive. The gloves come off here with just 9 laps to go. Brad T. Nelson saying, buddy, I belong up here. I want to hold on to this 8th position. I don't want to give it up and fall back to the 9th position with just 8 laps to go here in Nashville. Great battle as we watch.
Yeah, right there. And we go back right here to the battle for the driver in second spot right here, Jacob Cochran. It has been an amazing drive for Jacob Cochran tonight. Unfortunately, without a caution flag, I don't know if he's got the speed to go up there and contend for the win with Cody Giles up there. Running really, really solid here in the second spot in that Limp Bizkit machine. But slowly as this run has gone on, Cody Giles has taken 100th out. Sometimes a 10th out almost every single lap, Ellis.
Cody Giles just continues to get faster and faster as we go along. You can see the lap times picking up. We talked about just how good the driver of that number 84 Limp Bizkit machine, the number 5, blue and white machine has been over the course of the night, but more importantly, how good he's been over the course of the long runs. You're seeing that pay dividends right now. It's bearing fruit for the driver of the number 5. He looks like he is extending that lead over Jacob Cochran. You mentioned just a little too late. Pending we have a caution. There's 6 laps left. Anything could happen. And speaking of anything happening, looking back, Brad T. Nelson continuing as we are looking at some of the closest battles on the track. That battle between him and David Moyer has not simmered at all. If anything, it has intensified. David Moyer trying to get his way by the number 33. This is for the 8th position, trying to get his way by Brad T. Nelson. Just about 2 car lengths separate them. And you can see the difference in lines, Chris, as they run through turn 2, exiting on the backstretch.
Yeah, a little bit different lines right there. Looks like Moyer struggled a little bit right there off of turn number 2. We'll see a little bit of a different approach maybe right here. Oh, yeah, a little bit higher up the track right there, trying to get out of the dirty air. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of grip up there here in Nashville. Ellis, yeah, you don't really have that option right there, as our producer, Johnny Rapp, actually says that one car is shifting on the speedway. Is that the 47 that was shifting, Johnny?
No, you can hear it right here. The 33.
That's Brad Nelson. 33
Brad Nelson shifting. Okay, yeah, that's interesting right there. I'm not sure if he's the only one doing that. I know that the center of the corner speed at this point of the run, Ellis, is probably really low as we have just 3 laps to go.
Well, Chris, Brad T. Nelson ran lap times comparable with Cody Giles that lap before. Big battle going on between Reggie Kime and Zach White. Christopher Benning in the 16th and 17th position. We'll follow this one just with 3 laps to go. As Chris said, Reggie Kime and the Scooby-Doo machine down there on the inside. It's a battle for the 15th position, or I should say the 16th position right now. Kime and Benning side by side. Benning, a newcomer, Kime, a stalwart of the Mystic Racing League Fall Creek Plumbing Series. They're doing battle behind Zach White. This is a great little battle coming up on 2 to go for the leaders. Not much is changing up there. Benning's going to get the better end of that fight off of turn number 4.
Great job right there by Christopher Benning, series debutant right here in the 16th spot. Kept that nose clean for most of the race right here, but out in front, man, it is all the Cody Giles show.
Cody Giles coming now to the white flag. Are we going to have a caution?
Well, no, we've got Christian Barnes has had a connection drop. He was running up there in the podium, I think the final step of the podium, and that's going to put Evan Janik up to 3rd. Heartbreak for Christian Barnes.
Heartbreak for Christian Barnes. If he drops, he might blink back. But right now, all eyes are on Cody Giles in that number 5. 4 races this season, 3 top 5s. Make that 5 races, 4 top 5s, and now 3 wins for the number 5. Shake, rattle, and roll in the Music City across the finish line. Cody Giles wins at Nashville. Jacob Cochran will be 2nd. Evan Janik, Chris, you mentioned it, 3rd. Christian Barnes, you said it, Chris, last week's winner at Charlotte, running the top 5 all evening, drops to 19th after that connection falters in the closing laps.
Yeah, that is heartbreak right there. He was going to finish third. Evan Janik was not close enough, I don't think. In fact, I don't know if it was connection because it looks like he turned off the track actually coming off turn 2 before he blinked out. Might have been a hardware / connection issue, but really tough break for Christian Barnes. Great race, though, tonight. Great result for Cody Giles.
Great race all around. Very few natural cautions, couple of stage breaks, just great racing as always from the Fall Creek Plumbing Series drivers of Mystic Racing League. Watching that number 5 do the third burnout of the season here from Nashville. He rolls through the grass up to the start-finish line. We're going to hear from him momentarily, but first we're going to hear from our third and second place finishers. We'll go and see if we can't pull Evan Janik into the broadcast booth right now. He's going to be in as we... Evan Janik, it's Ellison, Chris, and Johnny in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, third place finish. You were the beneficiary of a late race connection issue of Christian Barnes. Got you up to the third position. A welcome change for you in that Morgan Wallen number 71 paint scheme tonight. It was an up and down sort of evening for you, man. I believe you had to start from the back. You had to pass lots of cars. What was the biggest challenge you faced over the course of those 120 laps here at Nashville?
Yeah, actually, Cody started in the back. I was up in the front, but either way, I knew that he had the fastest car. So, really just trying to keep my tires underneath me. I was able to hold them off for a stage win. So, at least turning it around the points, had a few rough weeks, but honestly happy with third. Thought I had the third or fourth best car, and that's where I ended up.
Well, man, you got everything you could out of that 71 tonight. Talk to us a little bit about what you were working on with Mystic Racing League for AmSoil. We heard from AmSoil, and we heard your code earlier in the race, but for the fans tuning in now that maybe missed that, what's going on with that free ball cap promotion?
Yeah, I am an independent distributor or dealer for AmSoil. So I work with AmSoil to help distribute their product. We have a few promotions going on right now, but the most appealing one is if you purchase, I believe it's 125, an order of 125 or more, they will send you a free hat. So feel free to or reach out to me via email and or visit the site and use my code that was listed before in the broadcast, and I'd be happy to help you out any way I can.
All right. Appreciate you, Evan Janik. Great run tonight. Going to pad that point situation a little bit for you. Championship favorite as we inch closer towards the season finale, getting into the second half of the season. Before we let you go, any other short shout outs?
Thank you to Dig Safe NY for their support here and in real life. And thank you to you guys and everybody watching at home.
Appreciate you, man. Evan Janik, third place finisher tonight. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
All right, you heard from third place. Now we're going to bring in Jacob Cochran, our second place finisher. Chris, I'll let you take it away.
Jacob Cochran, our second place finisher. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Jacob, man, we saw you all night make that charge up there. You had to start at the back of the field with an EOL at the very beginning of this thing, but you slowly and steadily marched your way up there. A lot of speed in that number 84 Limp Biscuit machine tonight. What was the biggest challenge out there? Was it difficult to complete passes out there? It seemed like it was from our perspective in the booth.
Yeah, I mean, early in the run, when you still had some tires and you had some grip, you could make it pretty, I wouldn't say easily, but you could make it happen fairly easier. Once you got 20, 25 laps on a set, I mean, it was so hard. You get underneath them and you just could not get the run off. And so restarts and early in the runs, you just had to make all you could make.
Well, you had one of our favorite paint schemes tonight, that Limp Biscuit machine. Good colors on that car. It really popped all night. What went into your decision to decide to have Limp Biscuit on your number 84 Chevy?
Well, I never was a huge fan of that kind of music, and I let my cousin talk me into going to a concert, and I had probably the most fun I've had ever at a concert. So that kind of has turned into my new favorite band in a way, and so I threw it on there.
Well, it definitely looked good on the track tonight. We're going to see you next week when we head to the Daytona Road Course here for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series.
I'm going to definitely attempt it. I am not a road course driver, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Well, hey, we're looking forward to seeing you out there on the track next week. Before we let you go celebrate this great second place finish, you got any shout outs?
Yes, sir. Want to shout out my team, Aaron SB Racing, Aaron, David, Robbie. These guys, man, they run a top-notch team. They help us in every way, and couldn't do it without them. And then another special shout out to Alex Pollux at Black Diamond Designs for making that awesome paint scheme. He helped me out on that and the truck as well. He did a phenomenal job on both of them. So anybody needs a paint scheme, definitely reach out to him. He makes some of the best paint schemes I've seen. So, but yeah, other than that, Mystic for doing the league, and Fall Creek for sponsoring the series, and of course you guys up in the SRM booth.
Well, phenomenal job for you out there on the track tonight. We appreciate you putting on a great show. That's Christian Barnes, our second place finisher tonight. We'll see you next week, bud.
Whoa.
Congratulations on a great run.
Don't do me that way.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jacob Cochran. Sorry about that, bud.
That's all good. That's all good. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Y'all have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right, you heard from Jacob Cochran there, or Christian Barnes, not sure. I'm just messing with you, Chris.
Sorry about that, Jacob.
You were going to hear from our winner. Now we're going to bring in Cody Giles and that number 5 dominant car all long. Cody Giles, it's Ellis and Chris and producer Johnny in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, hell of a race. It's really hard to pinpoint any place, any point in those 120 laps where you put a wheel wrong. You led much of the evening. Talk to us about kind of just your evening overall. Were there any moments that we might have missed that been particularly dicey? I know there was a moment, a late race restart, where you had some cars that were on older tires. You managed to get through it unscathed as far as we could tell. What were you feeling during that point? Maybe any other tense moments over the course of those 120 laps?
Tense moments. I mean, it was that, and the battle at the end of the stage one. That's the only thing I can really recall. And the couple cars staying out on older tires and trying to navigate through that and stuff. Those are always tense moments, because you just really never really know what's going to transpire going through the restart there. So just trying to figure that out. Like I said, stage one with Janik was pretty intense, coming down the last couple laps at the end there. Yeah, that was pretty much it. It's just the hectic moments with people staying out on tires, and Janik, me and Janik's battle at the end of stage one.
It was a wild race. There was a lot of good racing as we've continued to see week after week here in Mystic Racing League in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. I want to talk to you about next week. We're headed into the Daytona Road Course, and you're quickly establishing yourself as a championship favorite. You haven't run all the races, but you have qualified for the playoffs with those now 3 wins on the season after tonight. Last time we were at a road course, you finished first. It was a little bit of a controversial finish at Sonoma. We're heading into a road course next week. You plan to be at the Daytona Road Course, and have you settled that issue with the guys you had a run in back at Sonoma with?
I'm only part-time here. I don't plan on running for the championship this year, unfortunately. Next season, I do expect to come full-time and take a big swing next season for the championship. Now going forward with the next week with Daytona Road Course, the controversial thing at Sonoma, I mean, I'm sure that's all past now. Everybody's cool. Everybody's water under the bridge. So I don't expect anything to happen at the road course next week. I think we're just going to go in there as just like we do every week, and just utilize what we got and just make it at the end and survive. Daytona Road Course is a very challenging track, especially with these cars. So it's going to definitely be a challenge. So I'm looking forward to it.
Man, you led 2/3 of the race tonight. We know you're not racing full time, but you're pretty spot on. 3 wins in 5 starts. 4 top 5s. We look forward to seeing you out there every single week. You're able to show up, and we hope we continue to see much more of you out there. Before we let you go, you got any shout outs after that win tonight?
Absolutely. Twisted Speed, CHR, 1776 Motorsports. Let's see, Head Candy. Pretty much shout out to those guys. It wouldn't be possible without them. It wouldn't be possible without you guys, which I'll do every week for the league. And thank you guys again for allowing us to be shown on Twitch and YouTube.
We appreciate you. Absolutely. Congratulations on that win tonight. Go celebrate, my friend.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That was Cody Giles, winner tonight at Nashville. Great race. Giles led much of the way, but we saw some thrilling action over the course of the race. Worked out better for some drivers than others. Let's go ahead and take a look at those finishing results tonight here at Nashville in race number 17 of the Mystic Racing League Fall Creek Plumbing Series. Cody Giles, your winner. Cochran and Janik, we heard from those guys. Aaron Espy gets back up to a 4th position for the finish tonight. Caleb Hunt, top 5, another great finish for that number 78. Gavin Henson clawed his way back up to 6th after a couple of dicey restarts that put him further back than where he had run much of the night. Chris, Brad T. Nelson just continues to impress week after week, getting faster in that 33, talking about him being a contender before the season is over. David Moyer gets a great 8th place finish. Josh Gillen, how about it in that in the 10 car, gets a 9th place finish tonight. A great top 10 for Josh. I know he's got some fans watching at home. And then Andy Berry, that you mentioned, his debut, a debutant here in Mystic Racing League, I believe, is going to finish in the 10th position in that number 25. Chris, I'll let you cover the second half of the finishing results.
Yeah, in the 11th spot, we got Adam Holston. And, you know, we talked about Holston sort of grinding out finishes. I would say that this is probably not the one that he wanted, with, you know, a little bit of craziness going on in the closing stages around him. Alan Zukov with a really solid run tonight. I would say probably one of his better runs on the season. Great job for the driver of the 91 in the 12th spot. Brett Wren is going to bring it home in 13th position. Zach White in 14th. And there is that series debutante right there. Christopher Benning in that number 64, going to finish in the 15th position. Reggie Kyman, the Mystery Machine, is going to finish 16th. Unfortunately, the pit strategy for he and Alex Pollock in the 92, finishing in 17th right there, didn't quite work out in their favor. Gino Volante on his birthday is going to finish in the 18th spot. And Christian Barnes, I was thinking about him in the post-race interview. I apologize again, Jacob Cochran. But Christian Barnes, you know, was going to finish 3rd right there on the last lap, and unfortunately will bring home that 19th place finish after his either connection or hardware troubles that he had. And Robert McKay will round out the top 20.
Stephen Gill had a good run going, is going to have to settle for a 21st after getting caught up in some collisions the second half of the race after having a top 10 much of the night for that 01 car. Chris, we're headed to the Daytona road course next week. Bit of a change of pace. We're going to be making some right-hand turns. We're going to see maybe some drivers that we haven't seen on the ovals excel a little bit, making those right-hand turns. I think we've got some interesting stories to follow for next week as this season enters into its second half. Lots of action, though, tonight. Great racing as usual. Any last thoughts before we shut it down for the evening here?
Yeah, a little bit of a change of pace next week on the road course, and a very strange road course right there also, with, you know, not a lot of NASCAR starts there. You know, so that's going to be very interesting to see. Looking forward to seeing these drivers here in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series hit the action at Daytona next week. And yeah, can't wait for that to transpire.
And also, we'll go ahead and do this. We didn't do much trivia tonight. Kind of the action was a little bit hot and heavy. Didn't have a moment to cover all the trivia questions. How about we do this? If you're still watching at this point, or you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave a comment of what you thought was the best paint scheme tonight for the bands. We had the Prince paint scheme. We had the Metallica paint scheme. We had the Guns N' Roses paint scheme. Looked through the race to see several others. Limp Bizkit. We saw a Taylor Swift paint scheme. Chris, I think we saw a Juice. Is it Juice? Juiced?
Juice WRLD.
Juice WRLD paint scheme. We saw Morgan Wallen paint scheme. Let us know once we shut it down tonight. Leave a comment on the uploaded video what you think the best paint scheme or what your favorite band featured on any of those cars was tonight. We'll choose our favorite to send that free die cast to. You got to leave a comment if you're still watching or you're watching it later on. Leave us a comment. We'll choose one of the best. We'll reach out to you to send you that free Alex Bowman die cast. We'll do that in the coming days. One more week and we'll be at the Daytona Road Course. Chris, great race tonight. Johnny, amazing job in the production booth. First race producing for us. You knocked it out of the park, my friend. I see your finger just clicking all over the place there. Shows you how fast this job is. Chris, you've done an amazing job over the course of the season. Super grateful for what y'all do in the booth. My brain can't even comprehend it. So awesome job for both of you guys. Appreciate y'all. We'll send it off for tonight for Ellis Thomas, Chris Smith, and producer Johnny in the booth and Slingshot Racing Media. So long from Nashville Superspeedway and Mystic Racing League. We'll see y'all next week at Daytona. Have a great night, everybody.